I know you're tired. Tired of shrinking profit margins on spec homes. Tired of competing with volume builders who can undercut you. And tired of watching your profits get eaten up by rising land and material costs. But what if I told you there's a way to potentially double your profit per lot without doubling your land acquisitions costs? ADUs are changing everything for spec builders like us. I'm going to walk you through why ADUs are not just another building trend, but your secret weapon to maximizing profit per lot in today's challenging market. You'll discover how to build 2 income generating properties on a single lot, the specific strategies I use to make these builds incredibly profitable, and most importantly, how to position yourself ahead of the competition before everyone else figures this out. Look, I've been building spec homes for almost 25 years, and I've watched our industry get squeezed from every direction. But the builders who started incorporating ADUs into their spec builds, they're telling me it's like finding a gold mine hiding in plain sight. Higher returns per lot, better margins, and properties that sell faster because they offer built-in income potential. Before we dive deep, I've put together a comprehensive spec builder ADU profit guide that includes my exact lot analysis framework, the construction sequencing that maximizes efficiency, and the market positioning strategies that get these properties sold fast. Grab it from the link below. It's free to builders who want to stay ahead of the curve. Let's talk about today's spec building reality. I want to start by acknowledging what every spec builder is dealing with right now. Land costs have gone through the roof, but you can't just pass those costs along to the buyers because there's always some volume builder willing to undercut you with cheaper construction and thinner margins. You're caught in a squeeze that's getting tighter every month. Land that used to cost you $40,000 per lot now costs you $75,000 or even more. Materials have increased 40% in some categories. Labor costs keep climbing. But try explaining that to the buyer who's comparing your $350,000 spec home to a production builder's $320,000 cookie cutter house down the street. Killer number 1, land cost inflation. You're paying more for lots, but building the same size houses. That means your profit per square foot keeps shrinking even when you do everything else right. Land used to represent 20% of your total project costs, now represents 30% or more. Killer number 2, race to the bottom pricing. Volume builders can afford to work on 8 to 12% margins because they're doing hundreds of units. You need to stay somewhere between 25 and 30% on your margins to make it worthwhile on 10 to 20 houses per year. But try convincing buyers to pay a premium when they can get something similar cheaper elsewhere. Killer number 3, single revenue stream per lot. This is the big one that most builders don't even think about. You buy a lot, build a house, sell it once, and that's it. You've extracted the maximum value possible from that land, or have you? Here's what's happening in spec building right now. New home sales are down in most markets because buyers can't afford the prices we need to charge to maintain healthy margins. First-time buyers are priced out. Move-up buyers are staying put because of mortgage rate concerns, and inventory is sitting longer. Meanwhile, rental demand is through the roof. People who can't afford to buy still need places to live, and they're willing to pay premium rents for quality housing. But here's the thing most spec builders haven't figured out yet. You can serve both markets on the same lot. The spec builder's ADU advantage. Now let me tell you why ADUs are different for spec builders like us. Instead of building one house per lot and selling it once, you're building 2 housing units per lot. That means you're adding significant value with relatively modest additional investment. Maximizing land utilization. Think about it this way. If you're paying $75,000 for a lot and you're building a $400,000 house, you're essentially paying $75,000 for the right to build 1 housing unit. But what if that lot could support 2 housing units for an additional construction cost of $100,000 to $150,000 more? Now you've got a main house that might sell for $400,000 and an ADU that adds $150,000 to $200,000 in value. You've taken a $75,000 land investment and creating $575,000 or more in total housing value instead of $400,000. That's extracted way more value from the same land cost. While other spec builders are offering just another house, you're offering a house with a built-in income potential. Buyers can live in the main house and rent out the ADU to help cover their mortgage. Or investors can buy the whole property and rent both units. This isn't just about construction. It's about creating a unique value proposition that justifies premium pricing. When buyers see they can potentially collect $1,800 to $2,500 per month from an ADU, they'll pay more for the property than they would for a comparable house without that income potential. Here's something I didn't expect but have experienced repeatedly. Properties with ADUs sell faster than comparable single-family specs. Why? Because you're appealing to a broader buyer pool. Traditional buyers, real estate investors, and buyers looking for house hacking opportunities. Let me tell you about my first ADU spec build. I had a lot that I paid $100,000 for in a decent neighborhood. Instead of building my typical $550,000 spec home, I designed a main house with a detached ADU. The total construction cost was $395,000 instead of my usual $275,000. But I listed my property for $750,000 and sold it in 18 days. The buyers were a young couple and planned to live in the main house and rent the ADU for $2,200 per month to help with their mortgage. My profit went from what would have been about $135,000 on a traditional spec to $190,000 with adding an ADU. That's almost a 30% increase in profit for about 30% more construction work. If you're starting to see potential here, make sure you grab the Spec Builder ADU profit guide I mentioned. The lot analysis framework alone will show you how to identify which of your lots have ADU potential. And if you're getting value out of this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's break down the 3 main approaches I use for ADU spec builds. These are usually your highest value plays. I build a main house in the 1,500 to 2,000 square foot range and add about an 800 to 1,200 square foot detached ADU. The total project value typically ranges between $700,000 and $750,000 depending on your market. The key is designing both units to feel complete and private while sharing utilities and site infrastructure efficiently. These work great on narrow lots where a detached unit won't fit. I designed a main house with an attached ADU that has its own entrance. Think of it like a high-end duplex, but with clearly defined primary and secondary units. Lower construction costs than detached, but still significant value add. These are really good when 2 families want to live in the same place, like an adult child or an in-law. This is the most conservative approach. I build these spec homes with an oversized garage that's designed to easily be converted to an ADU later. I pre-stub plumbing and electric and use standard ceiling heights and include a separate entrance. Buyers can convert it themselves or I offer it as an upgrade option. Here's something most builders don't realize. ADU regulations are actually working in our favor as spec builders. Most cities have streamlined ADU permitting specifically to encourage more housing units. Many jurisdictions offer expediting permitting, reduced fees, and relaxed parking requirements for ADUs. This means faster project timelines and lower soft costs compared to the traditional development. In some areas, I can get an ADU permit faster than a single-family permit because the city wants to encourage this type of development. Step number 1. Lot analysis and selection. Not every lot is suitable for ADU development. So the first step is getting good at lot analysis. You need to understand setback requirements, lot coverage limits, height restrictions, and utility access requirements in your target markets. I've developed a simple score system for evaluating lots. Size, shape, topography, utility access, and neighborhood characteristics all factor into whether a lot makes sense for an ADU development. The goal is to identify lots where adding an ADU is both feasible and profitable. Step number 2, design for efficiency. The key to profitable ADU specs is designing both units to share infrastructure efficiently while maintaining the feeling that each is a complete private home. This means strategic placement of utilities, shared driveways, and site improvements, and efficient use of the space. I work with architects who understand both the regulatory requirements and the economics of ADU development. We've developed several proven floor plan combinations that work well in my markets and can be adapted for different lot sizes and configurations. Step number 3. Construction sequencing. One of the biggest advantages of building both units simultaneously is construction efficiency. You can sequence the work to minimize mobilization costs, share material deliveries, and keep crews productive throughout the project. I typically build the foundation and framing for both units at the same time, then complete them in parallel. This is much more efficient than building them separately and helps control costs. Step number 4, marketing and positioning. ADU spec builds require slightly different marketing than traditional specs. You need to educate potential buyers about the income potential and help them understand how to evaluate investment opportunity. I create marketing materials to show potential rental income, break down the numbers for house hacking scenarios, and highlight flexibility that comes with having 2 units. This isn't just about selling a house. It's about selling an investment opportunity. One thing to understand is that buyers financing ADU properties might face slightly different lending requirements. Some lenders treat properties with ADUs differently, and buyers might need to qualify based on different criteria. However, many lenders recognize ADU rental income in qualification calculations, which actually helps buyers qualify for larger loans. As this becomes more common, it makes ADU properties more accessible to a broader range of buyers. Look, learning ADU regulations is no different from learning any other building code requirements. The difference is that ADU codes are actually designed to be more permissive than traditional zoning in most areas. I recommended starting by searching one jurisdiction thoroughly before expanding to others. Become the expert on ADU development in one market, then apply that knowledge to additional areas. Obstacle number 2, the additional construction complexity. Yes, building 2 units is more complex than building 1, but it's not twice as complex. And the profit potential more than justifies the additional complexity. Think of it as upgrading your skill set to access higher margin opportunities. Most of the additional complexity is in the design and planning. Once you have proven floor plans and construction processes, executing ADU specs becomes routine. Every builder thinks their market is different, but housing affordability is a problem everywhere, and rental demand is strong in most markets. The question isn't whether the demand is for housing, it's whether you're positioned to meet that demand profitably. Start with one ADU spec build as a test. Price it appropriately and see how the market responds. You might be surprised by the buyer's interest. Obstacle number 4, the additional investment risk. This is a legitimate concern. ADU specs do require more upfront investment than traditional specs, but the risk is often overstated when you consider that you're creating 2 marketable housing units instead of 1. If the market softens, you have more options with an ADU property. You can sell to traditional home buyers, investors, or even rent both units temporarily if needed. Days 1 through 30, education and market research. Research ADU regulations in your primary building markets. Identify 3 to 5 lots in your pipeline that might work for ADU development. Connect with an architect experienced in ADU design. Analyze comparable sales of properties with ADUs in your area. Days 31 through 60, design and planning. Develop 2 to 3 proven floor plan combinations for your market. Get preliminary designs and cost estimates for your first ADU spec. Pre-qualify with lenders who understand ADU properties. Create marketing materials that highlight the investment potentials. Days 61 through 90, first project launch. Secure your first ADU spec lot. Submit permits for your first ADU spec build. Begin construction using the systems and processes you've developed. Document everything for future projects and marketing. Here's where ADU spec builds gets really exciting. Once you prove the model with one property, you could start thinking about scaling. Each successful ADU spec build demonstrates market demand and builds your expertise. Within 12 to 18 months, you could be building multiple ADU specs simultaneously, each generating higher profits per lot than traditional spec builds. You're not just building houses, you're maximizing the value extraction from every lot you acquire. Position yourself as an innovative builder who's solving the housing affordability crisis while creating investment opportunities for your buyers. This isn't just about construction. It's about understanding market trends and positioning your business to benefit from them. Buyers who understand the ADU opportunity are willing to pay premium prices for properties that offer built-in income potential. You're not competing on price anymore. You're competing on value and opportunity. Look, I've been watching land costs eat into spec building profits for years, and I know most builders are feeling the squeeze. You can either keep doing the same things and watch your margins shrink, or you can adapt your business model to extract more value from every lot you build on. ADUs aren't just another building trend. They're a fundamental shift on how smart builders approach lot utilization and profit maximization. The builders who embrace this opportunity now, while the competition is still building traditional single-family specs, are going to dominate their markets. If you're ready to stop leaving money on the table and start maximizing your profit per lot, grab that Spec Builder's ADU profit guide I mentioned. It includes everything you need to analyze your first ADU spec opportunity and execute it profitably. And hey, if this just opened your eyes on new possibilities, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be sharing a lot more content about innovative building strategies that help spec builders stay profitable in today's challenging market. The housing market is evolving, and builders who adapt their strategies are going to thrive. Those who keep doing the same thing they've always done are going to struggle. The choice is yours. Thanks for watching.